whatever time it is, we're here to connect, reflect, and dive into life's biggest questions, one conversation at a time. And today, on the inaugural episode of Good Morning, Good Afternoon, Good Evening, I have my lovely, lovely first cousin, Nadge Lewis. Go ahead, Miss Nadge. Go ahead and tell everyone who you are, where you're from, who you are, what makes you special and unique, and then we'll get into the topic of discussion.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So, first of all, let me just say happy Veterans Day to you.
Thank you. Thank
Thank
you.
you for your service. Thank you
Thank you.
for all your sacrifices, and to all the veterans out there, we thank you. So yes, I am born and raised in Jamaica. Came to the States back in 1993 at the age of 17 years old. So I didn't grow up here. I was already an adult when I almost, technically, an adult when I came here. But pretty much I lived in New York, started there, then migrated over to Georgia. So I am now a peach, no more an apple. I am in the
I
sales
like that.
industry, been in the sales industry for over 30 years. So I am a people person. I love the interaction. I love what I learn from people. And I just love to be able to provide solutions or in any way that I can to make business better or their lives better. I am married, probably married to a veteran as well, who is still in the service industry. I have a son that is serving in the Navy, a stepson, and then also a sister to a twin. I'm a twin, as well
Hmm.
as I have an older sister and a brother and my beautiful mom. Um,
Yes, yes, yes.
yeah, and my dad behind me here.
Yes, yes, yes. Bless his
Don't
heart.
want to
Bless
get
it.
too
Bless it.
emotional, but that's the heart of our home and the heart of us. Who I am
Yeah,
today is a big
exactly.
part of who he is and who he was and what he instilled in us.
Right.
Definitely, my mom and dad are my heroes from day one until the day I die. So that's
Good,
pretty
good,
much a
good.
little part of me. What makes me special is my heart. I am a selfless person. I
Hmm.
try to do as much as I can for others. And most of the time, it's the gratification that I get when I know that I can help someone that boosts my motivation and makes me feel better
Hmm.
to carry on.
Exactly. And what's amazing is that when you mentioned that you were as a twin, and for anybody who don't know about twins and the Coombs blood, twins run thick in our family. You know what
Yes.
I'm saying? My mom, your aunt, is a twin, and remember
Yes.
Chris had twins. You're a twin, so everybody's on pins and needles. You know what I'm saying? All the ladies are pins and needles, especially the younger ones. Like I said, you could be next because it didn't skip our
Yes.
it definitely didn't skip our generation. How they say twins skip generation? No, it didn't.
It did
My
not.
mother's a twin and had twins. So it's funny how that dynamic of our family. When I explain to people, I said, you don't understand the gravity of how large my family is. It is
Oh, humongous.
extensively it is extensively large to where you'll be surprised. You go to a state where you think you don't know nobody, it'd be a Coombs around the corner.
There's a coom somewhere.
That's a Coombs somewhere, which is awesome. Which is awesome, and thank you for giving a great bio about who you are, where you're from, what makes you special, because that's part of what we want to talk about today. And the subject of our conversation is, I don't want to use the phrase dealing with grief because I don't think people should deal with it. But I think people should navigate it because it's not something that
Mhm.
you deal with it as a dark cloud. It's something that we have to navigate through in order to continue to move forward and prosper as best as one can. And with dealing with grief, I always try to tell people, having lost my father, also is that people deal with grief as how people deal with grief. There's no right or wrong answer. There's no length of time. There's no shortness. How one deals with their emotions is how they deal with their emotions. And who are we to judge how somebody's dealing with grief? How can you be that type of a heartless person to say, well, man, you still doing it? It's been 2 years or it's been 3 years. Some people deal with grief 10 years after they lost their loved one. They wake up in the morning and then they think about it. So there is no time limit on it. So being able to navigate through that and prosper and move forward as best as possible is to their own person's retention. So I'm gonna start off with something, and let's talk about it. You want to talk about it,
Yeah,
Nance? Let's talk about it.
absolutely. Absolutely. I'm
So
going through it right now.
yes, ma'am. So going in my memories, I always look at it. Growing up with my father and I had a unique relationship. I credit a lot of my sense of humor and my character to who he is. He was always trying, always, absolutely always trying to be funny in one way or another. Making jokes, cracking jokes, look, you got something on your shirt, doing the whole thing. Just trying to be, one second. Trying to be funny. So, what's one of the first things that comes to mind when you think about your dad that made him, made you feel special, that tells you a little bit about his character? Let's talk about his character. First and foremost, let's go ahead and say his full name so anybody can know his full name. And then tell me something about his character. What made him funny to you with his character and how he was? Because I know stories, but I want to hear it from your perspective.
So yes, Neville Newton Coombs, that's my dad's name, affectionately known as Cunny. From a young age, he just had ways of getting out of anything, and that name stuck to him. But one of the most amazing things about my dad is that he's like a gentle giant.
Hmm.
So no matter what the message is that he has to get across to you, whether it's through humor or he's serious, it came off just so gentle that you had to just adjust.
Hmm.
Um, there was a few times when he does get stern and you're like, oh, okay, he's really serious now. Let me straighten up.
We
But
ain't joking. We
my
ain't joking
dad
right now.
had this dry humor where it was just roll off his tongue. You'll stand next to him and he'll just say something and you have tears running down your eyes from laughing, and he has a straight face. No, no, just a straight face, like he said nothing. So,
Hmm.
that about him, just his presence was amazing.
Right, and it's nothing that I always equate laughter to just the character of a person because not everybody can be funny. People can think they're funny, but people who funny don't say that they're funny.
No.
Everybody has to say that they're funny. You see what I'm saying? So it kind of like
Yeah,
defeats the purpose. You know I'm a funny person. I know you're not. You're kind of corny. But if everybody's saying that you're funny, that builds and embodies the character of an individual with trying to be funny. And it's just part of the stories of who we are as people and how we try to move forward and just enjoy life as a whole and try not to take everything serious. Even though some things are serious, but try not to make everything too serious. It's like when
absolutely.
I'm working in the culinary field. I always tell people, when they get their stuff all riled up about cooking in the food and all this stuff, I always say it's just food. First, if you understand that it's just food, don't take it so serious, but just enjoy the artistic outlet that it gives you. And that's what I look at like life. Life is just life. It's going to guide. It's
Absolutely.
going to go. It's going to go in the direction that it go. All you gotta do is add flavor to it. And if that
That's
flavor is
it.
laughter, then so be it. Let that flavor be laughter, and then try to be as funny as possible. And it goes back to him having that laughter, and I'm sure that you and your pops had long talks. I'm pretty sure he was in your ear. Pretty
Oh,
sure his
all the
daughter is just
time.
just in their ear, just give him drops and drops of advice, little tidbits, little nuggets, little seeds. Because I remember when I was about to join the military, and I'm gonna tell you, I was scared. I was terrified when I was about to join the military. It's 1990, many moons ago. I'm not gonna age myself, but it was a long time ago. It was 1990 when I was about to join the military, and my father and he would tell me one of the biggest piece of advice I can remember to this day is that he told me that whatever anyone else can do in the military, don't think that you can. Don't think that you cannot. You know what I'm saying? Just don't quit.
Hmm.
Give it 100%. And that stuck with me, especially during the tough times when I first joined the military. I was away from home. I hadn't been away from home. I was in Georgia. I was in Fort Benning, Georgia, leaving Detroit, and didn't have any family down there. I was new, fresh off the streets of Detroit, into the military, rigid discipline, and all that stuff. So I remember him telling me that just think about the things that if somebody else can do it, don't assume that you can. So, what are some of the most unforgettable pieces of advice and life lessons that you find yourself coming back to that your father gave you? Like he gave you something. How would you? How have you reflected on that over the entirety of how you remembering your pops?
Something very similar to what you say. Always trust God first.
Hmm.
You go there first. His faith was very strong, and that's something that he instilled in us. Another thing that stands out for me is no one is better than you, and
Hmm.
you're not better than anyone.
Hmm.
It's a title. They might have a different title, they have a different role. That doesn't make them any better or make
Hmm.
you any better. Treat people with respect, treat people with kindness, basically treat people how you would want to be treated. And the
Hmm.
sky's the limit. You can always go for what you want, you can always
Hmm.
achieve what you want. And if something doesn't work out, try another avenue. That wasn't for you.
Exactly. Exactly. And it's something that I try to tell my daughters, especially two that's in college. I said, don't be afraid to fail, because I'd rather you fail trying than don't even try and still fail. At least you put forth
Hmm.
the effort, because it's a learning lesson. If you don't even
Absolutely.
put forth the effort to try, fail, lick your wounds. I always say reset, take a shower, change your clothes, and do it a different way. If you know you keep going to the left, it's going to hurt. Go to the right.
That's
Give it a
it.
shot. Something might be
That's it.
different. So constantly trying to push things forward. And I see that your pops always do. Yeah, especially when you say that no one's better than you, you're not better than nobody else. If that can be a T-shirt made and sold with his face on it, hopefully people will understand. Because it's crazy when people get in positions of authority, they feel like you're beneath them. You know,
Yeah.
and then me, because with me, I work in a nonprofit organization, and I don't like it when I'm addressed as or looked upon as far as being above somebody, because I remember where I came from. I remember what I went through as a
Hmm.
child, and how I'm here to help the fellow man. If we as a whole had somebody can reach up and help pull you up, if everybody did that or had that type of mental capacity, we'll be living in a better place, in a better space.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I've been in my company now for 10 years and moved to different departments, and I still help people from the very first department I started in. And
Hmm.
I tell them, reach out to me at any time. Don't
Hmm.
feel like, oh, she doesn't do this anymore. I said, I'm always here to help.
Hmm. That's because always knowledge is contagious. It does me no justice if I'm sitting on this stuff. I can make you do better. How can I walk away talking
Exactly.
about? I pull one over on him because I know the answer to the solve of the equation. I'm supposed that's part of who I am as a person, to help your fellow
Absolutely.
man as much as possible. So that's something that I always try to instill and talk to my kids, and just coaching them up, trying to get them excited about doing certain things. Because one thing they do get excited about, my kids always love to hang around me and go to eat and go to movies and all this type of stuff. And one thing I think about back since I think with my pops, me and my pops used to go fishing all the time. We love to go fishing, right? And my first memory of fishing, we used to go smelt dipping in Whitefish Bay in Michigan. Smelt dipping. Everybody know what smelt fishing is, though. That's when the water, you put on hip waders and you have big old nets, and you walk out to the water till it's chest deep. You put the net in the water, and then you would drag it to the surface. It'd be little bitty
Ah,
silverfish, and you can eat the fish whole. The bones are like gristle, but you just fry them up and season them and eat them whole. So we used to go smelt dipping. And he and his buddies used to always tell me, "Hey, since you green here, you got to bite the heads off the first catch of the smelt dip. Even though it's raw, you got to bite it and hold it in your mouth so the tail can flap." But they used to always just pick on me because I was probably 10 years old. You know what I'm saying? You go smelt dip at like 2 o'clock in the morning when the fish would run. And my father would always. That's one of the fondest memories of him growing up is fishing, because I never really fished off a pier. Either I was in the water or on a boat. I didn't really fish off a pier until I joined the military, because my father was old school. You do it.
yeah.
You going to get the fish. You get in the water. Go get the fish. You don't stay in no dry ground. So that was crazy. So what was some of the things that you enjoyed doing together with your pops, or something, or shared routine that y'all would always have, or something that felt like a special bond?
Oh my gosh, I have so many.
I
Um,
can see.
I have so many. One of the things that I loved to do when I mean, I'm a hugger,
Hmm.
so so I would be always up under his armpit like a roll-on. Um, but my dad was very affectionate as well. But he would tell us stories. And I remember on Sundays, especially after we came back from church, like we would wait for the ice cream man to come, Fudgy. You would hear the horn beep, and we would run out, and he would come out and pay for the ice cream. And then we would go back and sit down around his feet, and he'd either tell us stories, or he'll put music on, and we would just sit there and listen to that. Um, he would talk about the Bible. He would talk about, just being good people. And he would tell us stories from his childhood, different things that he would talk to us about. But and we loved it. Dinner time was one of our favorites because that's when the jokes came in. Um, we would sit around the table and Daddy would just have us cracking up. We would have friends on occasion. A friend would come by and they would have dinner with us, and Daddy's humor alone, it was just amazing. The bond and the camaraderie, everybody that come into our family becomes family because that's how my mom and dad treated them, and accepted them. So we love to go walking. He loves long drives. He loves scenic things. So just those little things that we would do, listen to gospel music with him, sing, and he just enjoyed watching his family. He enjoyed it. He enjoyed it.
Yeah, and that's part of what we were talking about earlier is developing and building those memories, right? Because
Yes.
the memories that he built, he and my sister, what they built in Jamaica, and then being able to tell us what it was like growing up in the 40s and the 50s and things of that nature. Here we are,
Yeah.
decades upon decades later, and then just to sit and hear the story because they're very. What I learned about my aunts and uncles is that they're very animated and detailed when they're telling stories. So it's
Yes.
almost like you can smell what they're talking about. They smelling. You can see what they're explaining about, or you can feel when they talk about they was walking barefoot. You could feel what they're saying because the detail was like you didn't even got to close your eyes. You can see it. You can smell it. It's like you're immersed in their story. And
Right
I'm like,
there.
where do y'all get this skill from
Yeah.
to be able to tell a story like this and have me so drawn in like I'm watching an episode of Friends or something, and then you know what I'm
Absolutely.
saying? And I don't, yeah. And Aunt Kay has the same thing. Aunt Avis do the same thing. Sometimes when they go down to Florida, they just sit and tell stories. We just sit there. I just sit there and listen. I don't got to say a single word and watch them go back and forth, arguing about no, it was like this or no, I was there. I'm like, y'all, you need to cut it out. They drive me crazy to this day. I'll call moms and Aunt Chibi with Aunt K. I hear them cackling in the background. Uncle Noah chiming in and just so them. I call them the three of them. Those are the original Migos.
Domingos.
Noel, Noel, Auntie, yeah, and my mom's man. Them three boy driving Miss Daisy and Miss Louise. Boy, they are crazy as all get out, man. But that's funny though. But let's transition to something, and I'm a see. How has it felt adjusting with everyday moments without him around?
Mm.
How have you found yourself adjusting to that? And what little reminders of him pop up from time to time?
For me, I have to be very in touch with things. For me, I love to look at videos and
Mm-hmm.
photos, and I listen to songs that's relatable to
Mm-hmm.
the story and the love and that we share. And there are days when it's like an out of body experience.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I'm floating in space. I don't know if I'm on
Mm-hmm.
Earth. I don't know where I'm at. I'm just caught somewhere. And those are the times when I go silent because I'm trying to not just navigate, but I'm trying to find my footing,
Okay,
so to
that's a
speak.
great way of putting it.
Yeah, find my footing. I was with him when he passed,
Mm-hmm.
and one of the biggest obstacles for me is watching him go to sleep and not wake up.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't been able to get over that picture in my head.
Right.
And as much as the realization has hit me, it's like it's hit me, but it's not. It hasn't
Mm-hmm.
really. So each day is different, each moment is different, but what I have learned to do is to give myself the grace that I need.
Right.
Let my emotions run however it may
Mm-hmm.
come. I don't care if I'm in the supermarket. If I'm gonna ugly cry, I'm gonna ugly cry. That's just what it is. I'm not holding anything
Exactly.
back. I don't care
Exactly.
who's looking. I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just gonna, because my dad was like that. My dad never held his emotion. If he was happy, if he was sad, if he was, you just knew. He wore his
Mm-hmm.
heart on his sleeve, and that's how I am. So no pretense. There are days when it's rough. It's rough,
Mm-hmm.
and thank God for my husband, because he will just look at me and know.
Mm-hmm.
And many times he'll just come over and give me a hug because he know what's coming next. But
Right.
I'll call my mom, and it's hard to watch my mom be by herself after they've been together over 60 years,
Yes, that's a life.
and to
That's a
see her.
lifetime in itself.
Yeah, yeah, I don't know them not being together.
Right.
So just the realization, watching my siblings navigate through this, it's the grandkids. My
Yeah.
husband and him were very close.
Mm-hmm.
Just it's just like you're caught in a whirlwind. At the same time, the tornado is throwing you to and fro, but then you're trying to hang on, and sometimes you want to let go.
Yeah. That's
So
that's a
it's
great
it's
that's a great way of
it's
putting it. That's a great way of putting it.
yeah.
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 It puts a visual with it because and the this I don't want to the dark side of passing is that life keeps lifing,
Hmm.
right? You still got to pay bills. You still got to eat. You still got to perform the duties outside of with work. It's certain things that doesn't stop happening. So when you try to navigate that, it's trying to find your grace, but also trying to find the understanding that you just can't not move.
Hmm.
Because when you don't move, that's when things really start to collapse on you. So you got to find out that speed and that pace, and it's also and that also pairs with circling yourself around people who understand this. Because
Yeah.
it's hard for people to understand until they lost a parent. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And yeah.
And like for me, like different things come to my mind because someone said that to me the other day. It's isn't it hasn't it almost been a year? And I wanted
That,
to say, lady, if you don't get off my phone, I
what?
just yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, 51 years to almost a year. Okay, let's
Yeah.
compare. But
51 years or 300 days.
yeah.
That don't equate.
So that
Yeah.
don't even make no sense in my mind. But if it makes
Yeah.
sense in yours, you do you. But
Yeah.
but it's like people, they say things and they think they're helping, but they don't really help. And a lot of
Hmm.
times it comes off insensitive, but
Hmm.
they're not trying to be offensive, but it
Right.
feels that way because in your heart how you feel inside and the
Hmm.
impact that it has on you. So because of that, if I don't have conversations, I don't take phone calls if I'm not in the mood, I don't
Hmm.
take text messages. I don't let me not take them, but I don't respond to them like
Right.
right
Right.
away.
Right. Right.
I have to give my time, because give myself time. I've always been the person who reach out and say good morning to everyone. I'm the
Hmm.
one sending messages. And when you know that I am going through this and you still have an expectation that you're going to hear from me to tell you how I'm doing, there's something wrong with that picture. So I had to learn to give myself boundaries, not other people, but set boundaries for myself, knowing
Right.
that I'm not at the capacity right now to have a conversation. And I'm
Hmm.
not apologizing either for that, because
Exactly.
I'm
Exactly.
dealing with this. This is my pain. This is my dad that I lost. So I
Hmm.
don't expect you to understand how I feel, but it is what it is.
It is what it is at the end of the
It is
day.
what it is.
So when you find yourself in those moments, when you're having when you miss them the most, when you find that, what are some of the things that you do or think about that kind of brings you that comfort when you find yourself in that place, in that space? What brings you comfort?
His voice.
Okay.
His voice brings me comfort. And I know some people look at me and they're like, "What was that?" Um, because I have his voice as my ringtone. So every
Okay.
time my phone rings or I get a text message, I hear his voice, and
Hmm.
that comforts me.
Okay.
Looking back at pictures and videos, that gives me comfort. I have to, I'm like a touchy-feely person, so I have to
Hmm.
really connect. Those things give me comfort.
Hmm.
Just remembering times that we shared. And talking to my siblings, joking with my husband about something smart my dad said or
Hmm.
did, or, even the serious moments, those moments when he was not well and we had to
Hmm.
be there. And all of that, the good and the bad, all put
Right.
together, keeps me going. And that's what
Hmm.
helps me to maintain each day.
Good. Good. And it's great, like I said before, to have that type of supporting cast around you, especially the ones who do give you grace and allow you to feel emotional. Like if you want to be loud, then be loud. If that's your way
Yeah.
of getting through it, then be loud. You know what I'm saying? If I can take you somewhere where you can smash everything that you want to see, then we'll go there. You smash everything that you see. We can go out here in the backyard. I can get a bunch of dishes from Walmart. Go out here and break every last one of them. Throw them at the trees.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't care because if that's a way like trying to keep that sorrow, I want to, well, lack of better words, bottled up.
Hmm.
It's like a powder keg, and
Yeah.
then it'll explode at an inopportune moment. So being able to release that as much as possible to get some, and it's not, when I say release it, I don't mean release it in the fact of getting over it, but release the
The
moments,
tension that you're
the
feeling or
tension.
whatever you're feeling at that time, you
Yes.
have to do that. I have a friend and she's so dear to my heart, but she just shows up out of nowhere and she'll just call me and say, "Nads, I left some flowers at the door for you." Or I left you a gift. It's just the thought. We were in the gym one day working out, and as I was approaching the machine, it said number 8, and that's Dad's birthday.
Hmm.
And when I tell you I lost it, I saw the number and I couldn't stop crying. The tears were just coming
Right.
down. And I'm sobbing and she's like, "Oh my God, Neds, are you okay?" And she just I didn't hear her for a few minutes. And I looked around and she's on the wall on her tippy toes covering up the number 8. she she didn't know what to do,
Trying
but
to do
she was,
something.
yeah, she was on her tippy toes holding her, but her palm over the number, trying to, she's like, "I don't, will this make you feel better?" And I just bust out laughing, at that moment. But just knowing that she gets me and she
Hmm.
knew at that moment what was going on, I didn't have to tell her anything, she
Hmm.
just knew right away. And people like that, I love and I appreciate. And I have people that really care and support me. And I'm just blessed. I'm blessed.
And it's great that you found a little bit more relief of laughter in that moment. You see what I'm saying? For
Yeah.
you to find
Yeah.
that little
I
piece of
ugly
laughter, like,
cried
oh
and then
my,
I laughed.
and it's because it's a range of motions in such a tight space that
Yes.
where your everything is just happening. You know what I'm saying? It's like sensory overload, and then you don't know which way am I going, which way am I going, and then to end it with laughter, it's just a little bit of relief in finding your grace when you come to
Yes.
dealing with that. So
Absolutely.
but what we had spoke about a few days ago is like when you said that within our community, dealing with grief is sometimes looked, especially with men. You know what
Hmm.
I'm saying? Dealing with grief is looked at a form of weakness. And I
Yeah.
tried to explain to people that, we men as a whole, let alone men within our community, has frowned upon showing emotion. It has been frowned upon a lot. And it's our Achilles heel when it comes to us being better people as a whole. Because If you cry, or if you seek some type of mental health, or if you seek something for your mental betterment, it's looked at you're weak, or you're succumbing to something, or you're like a little girl or something like that. And I never understood that because I'm in touch with my emotions. And even so much as
Hmm.
the older I get, I'm in touch with my emotions. If I have to cry, I have to cry. I have no problem with it. It doesn't make me feel
Yeah.
weak because I know who I am as an individual. But it's also trying to get the message out to people to where anybody that might be listening, anybody that might be watching, that seeking some type of comfortable space to be able to share your emotion is just as important as just having those emotions, being able to share them with that. All right, here we go. Yeah, being able to have your emotions and share your emotions is
Hmm.
very important than just holding that in and not trying to move forward with it.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't know why, but that's a taboo that needs to change. Definitely needs to change because for me, having a dad that shows his emotion no matter
Hmm.
what, you know, that didn't make him a weak person. He's the strongest person I know.
Yes.
My dad has
Yes.
been through some things and survived
Hmm.
it then. And there is nobody stronger than him to me. But I think that society has just painted this whole picture where, like you say, you're weak as a man. If you show emotion, that makes you weak. And that is the opposite.
It's the
That's the
absolute
opposite because at the
opposite.
end of the day, you're human and you need to,
Hmm.
to be in touch with those feelings. And I'm not saying to cry like a girl, but if you have to cry, cry.
Then so be it.
It doesn't matter. You're human, you're feeling. That tells me that your senses work.
Yes, that is a great way of putting it. It tells me that your insides work normal because,
Yeah,
like you saying, it takes it takes a strong man to admit that he's having an issue or having a moment. Because if you hold it in, all it is like again, like the powder keg analogy, you're just sitting waiting to explode, ready to do something or cause some type of undue stress or harm to yourself or the people around you. So being in tune with
absolutely.
that is something that we need to, I wish people would have that insight or understanding more within our community to be able to share that because it's travesty. It's tragic. It's tragic. It's tragic. So one last question I'm gonna ask you. If your father right now was listening to this conversation, what do you think he'd say to you or remind you of?
Be myself. Always be my authentic self. No matter what. You don't have to go with the crowd.
Hmm.
The crowd don't have to agree with you.
Hmm.
But as long as you believe in what you say and you know that it is right and you have that conviction, just be you.
Just be you, and that's. I'm telling you, you need to have you need to get a book of one-liners.
I have them
a
queued
small
up.
a small little pocketbook that you can put in your pocket to where you're ever having a moment, go to page 3, look down the second paragraph, be authentic, be yourself. You don't gotta follow the crowd. Things like that. And it's just old fables and sayings to where one would think that is normal, but in our society it's not normal, which is the sad part about it. You see what I'm saying? So being
Yeah,
able to have those anecdotes in life is something that a lot of us can live by or can learn from or have a takeaway from. Because I know I wanted to have you here so we can honor him and talk about it, and then shed light on who he was as a person. And then also how you're navigating through his loss and how your family is coping with his loss, and you're still going through the process. It wasn't
absolutely.
just it wasn't just a year ago. You see what I'm saying? You lost
Hmm.
50 years. You lost
Yeah,
50 years.
yeah,
You see what I'm saying? And that is its own lifetime in itself. So being able to navigate through these concerns and then take every day as new day, take every day step by step and continue to push forward and continue to look at how it's going to be tomorrow. Whatever tomorrow brings, you accept it full open arms and full, and then have the supporting cast of your dear husband, Mr. Lewis himself.
absolutely.
Because I always admire when I see your postings and stuff of how he reveres you when he looks at you. You see what I'm saying? And then coming from a husband, I know that look. You see what I'm saying? I know the look of when a
I
husband
see the
looks at
look.
his wife. I see the look, and I know what it makes me feel because I look at my wife the same way, and it's something that unless you're a husband, and I can't say unless you love your wife because you should, but when you're a husband, you know that feeling when you look at her and you're like, damn, that woman is strong, that woman is focused, that woman has been through a lot, but she always have the ability to care about something other than herself. She pours herself into so many people, and sometimes she forgets to pour herself into herself.
Yes,
So being able to, I want you to navigate that, but I also want you to be able to pour yourself into yourself. Always be
absolutely.
able to, because if you don't, you're just fighting an uphill battle. Because that's some people dive into other things to not try to address the obvious, but
Hmm.
here you are addressing the obvious, and you continue to pour yourself into other people, and I commend you for that, cuz that's why I love you, and I appreciate you taking your time to sit here and chat about it. And we didn't ugly cry.
We didn't
We
ugly
didn't
cry.
ugly
I'm gonna
cry.
do it after, but
No, but I
it's
also
good.
knew that you
It's
had
gonna
something. I
come.
know you had something that you wanted to share. So I am
Yes.
all ears, and I read it, but I want to hear you say it with your words and your enthusiasm. So take it away, cuz.
All right, all right. Just a few pointers that
Mm-hmm.
I made through my experience with grief, and just really seeing how much grief is not understood. Um, a lot of times when someone passes away for you, the first thing you will hear is, "I know how you feel,"
Mm-hmm.
but do you?
Mm-hmm.
Do you really know how I feel? Oftentimes you don't, because the relationship that I had with my loved one, you may have had a different relationship, or you may look at things differently, or your tone, or the way your actions or how you view things may be different from mine. So do you
Mm-hmm.
really know how I feel? But one of the things I say is to love your grief. Love it. Love all of it. Love the journey, the happy moments, the sad moments, because that's what's going to be there to build you up on
Mm-hmm.
those days when you have to dig deep. And then on the days when you can't dig deep, that's okay too. That's okay too. It's okay to let go and just be. For me, I felt after everything happened, I was working. And I was like, no, I have this, I have this. And my manager kept saying to me, you should take some time off. I'm like, no, I'm good. I have to stay busy. I have to stay busy, to just keep myself. And one day I got to the point where I checked out. I checked out completely. I couldn't focus. I couldn't do anything. And I had to take time off for myself. So, love your grief, but love yourself also. So
Mm-hmm.
take that time that you need to navigate, because this is new. This is No feeling is the same. You may feel this way today, and tomorrow it's a whole different feeling that you've never ever felt before. So there are triggers and there are things that will happen that will bring on these feelings. So when they come, just embrace them. So it's your journey and no one else's. Another thing is to respect your grief. Set boundaries. Set boundaries for yourself. Even if other people get upset, set your boundary, because you know your capacity, you know how much you can give, how much you can take. So take those boundaries for yourself and just be okay. You're gonna have to break your grief down. It's the relationship that you had with the person. It's not your title. So it's not because, okay, well, I'm daddy's daughter. That means I'm supposed to be this, or you were just this person. That means nothing. It all has to do with the bond that you shared. So respect that, break it down. Grief has many layers. There's no timeline as to when you should stop or what you should do. There's no, you just have to go through each moment. Um, Embrace your grief. Allow your emotions to naturally feel. It's a part of healing. Just be kind and give yourself some grace. It doesn't matter where you are. Allow yourself, whether it's to cry, to laugh, whatever the emotion is, don't hold that in, because holding it in doesn't help you. just release it whichever way, whether it's listening to music, reading a book, watching a movie, looking at funny stuff, pictures, whatever it is, whatever you find that is going to help you to release that emotion, naturally you do that. It's just give yourself that grace. Never apologize or accept something, people's opinion. They don't know you, they don't know what you how you feel, so don't feel like you have to be a yes person and say, oh yes, I agree with you. No, you don't have to. If you don't, then say you don't. And as a matter of fact, you don't even have to say anything. Just remove yourself. If you feel uncomfortable, just remove yourself from the conversation and take your time, take charge. It's your grief. um I just want to also say be ready for uncomfortable support. And when I say that, it's like people say things, as I said earlier, that they think is comforting to you, and it's really not comforting to you. For example, I've heard daddy wouldn't want to see you cry, or your dad wouldn't want to see you cry. He would want you to be happy. That has nothing to do with this right now.
Hmm.
I'm crying because I miss him. It has nothing to do with what he would have wanted. It just is what it is. People will say, remember the memories. The memories you'll have forever, and you have to remember those memories. But sometimes the same happy memory makes you sad. And again, it comes
Right.
back to just you missing that person. I have this, it came up in my mind the other day. I said I should make a t-shirt where I was saying that grief is walking in a beautiful field of flowers and stepping on a minefield, because all
Oh.
of a sudden you just explode.
Hmm.
All that beauty is gone, and all you're feeling in that moment is pain and nothingness and emptiness. So it's all those things embodied into one that you have to go through when you're dealing with grief. He's in a better place. Yeah, he is, but I'm not in a better place right now because
Hmm.
I want him. I miss my dad.
Hmm.
I want to be able to talk to him, to hear his voice, to hug him. I don't
Hmm.
have that anymore. So I have to come to the realization and acceptance of that. Just those things. Find someone that's patient, that's a listener, that will allow you that time, even if it's silence, even to
Yeah.
sit in silence and not say a word. Find that support that you need. Voice what you need, say what you need, because nobody can read your mind,
Hmm.
to give you what you need. Sometimes you don't even know. I remember my husband asking me, coming home last week, and it was funny. He came home and he came home with about 24 roses, different colors, my favorite colors, and I was so happy. And a card and money, and he's like, babe, I don't know what else. I don't know what to do. What can I do for you? And
Hmm.
I hugged him and I said, you know what I love about you? That you try.
Yeah.
I love that you try. And it doesn't matter what it is, he'll just do something to make me laugh, or he'll just hold me at times and I'll just cry and he won't say a word. So
Hmm.
just having that support, I'll pick up the phone and I'll call my sisters, my brother, and we'll just chat, or we'll share jokes. We have a sibling chat. We'll share jokes about things that happened when we were growing up, whoopings, all of it, and we'll just crack up about it. My mom, when I talk to my mom, like she'll tell us stories, because when she met
Hmm.
my dad, she saw him at a bus stop. And the first time she saw it, she said, that's going to be my husband.
Yeah. I remember
She
the story.
insisted that's going to be her husband. Hey, she spoke it into existence, right?
Here we have it.
So, yeah. So, we share those stories, and then there are those days when we share the sorrow. We
Hmm.
cry together, so it's just different layers that you have to go through, but having support, a good support system is very necessary. But just be kind to yourself. And then on the flip end of that, you have people that in your mind, you don't really have an expectation, but you kind of do figure that these people are going to be there for you, and they are the ones that's not there for you. And
Hmm.
that's a hurt that it's another layer of grief where you're like, man, they experienced this thing and I was there for them and now they're not here for me. And that's another part of the hurt that you have to accept. And it's not because you don't know why, but you just felt like you showed up for them, so they should have showed up for you. And when they
Exactly.
don't, it hurts. I've
It's
I've
telling.
had
It's
to
telling.
swallow a few of those pills.
It's telling.
Yeah,
It's telling. You're like,
it
oh,
is.
okay.
It is because
Mhm.
for me, love is an action word. And you
Mhm.
can't tell me you love me and I don't see you.
Mhm.
Um, so that's another realization for me. But I'm okay. No love lost there. But just take the time that you need. Take the time that you need. If you have to shut everyone out, shut everything out. There are moments when you have to do that because it's a part of you just processing and soaking it in. And it's a part of you. This is something that will never leave you. It may never go away. You learn to deal with it as time goes by. Even for this interview, I was very nervous, and my sister actually was like, "Are you gonna do it?" And I was like, "Yeah, I told him I would do it." And a few minutes before I called, I was literally shaking. I sent my
All
husband a
right.
message. I'm like, "I'm gonna jump on a call with John," but I was literally shaking, and I had to just
Right.
calm myself. And I
Right.
looked back at Dad, and I said,
Mhm.
"Daddy, we're gonna do this, okay?"
We
And
got this. We got this.
yeah, so just believe in yourself. It's okay. There's no time limit. Be grateful. Be grateful for everything. Be grateful to wake up. Be grateful for the piece of paper, the pen in your hand, the thought that you're going to put on that paper. Be grateful for everyone and everything. And just always, always show love and be selfless and take it one day at a time. And that's my piece.
One day at
One
a
day
time.
at
No,
a
I
time.
like that. I like that, and it's just great the anecdotes and the steps of navigating that you put out on here, and I just appreciate the time that you did this, and it's. I'm glad that you chose to do it with me because we're family. That you took the time out to do it with me because I wanted to make sure I talked about it with my wife. I said, make sure that because I wanted to make you feel comfortable. That was important for me for you to feel comfortable, and then just be who
Thank
you
you.
are. And I wanted to just be authentic because I looked at it as far as maybe it's just another layer of grief or processing your grief is to be able to talk about it because
Absolutely.
sometimes
Absolutely.
different people have different insights or just different tones of just listening and what really resonated with me is when you said with the hubby how sometimes you talk to people and they can, especially when they can sense or vibe if they should respond or not, because sometimes just hearing me vent is just as well as giving me advice, because sometimes I don't want you to say nothing, just let
Hmm.
me just say it. I'm not, what I'm saying, and
That's it.
not to be mean, or just let me just get it off my chest, because sometimes I have to say things just to get it off of me
Yeah.
to make me feel better. I don't need you to catch
Yes.
it, turn it up, and say and turn it into a rose and hand it back. Just let it get it off of me. And you just sit there in the corner and just be atmosphere. Just be in a room. Just be in a room. You can be in the corner just
That's
drinking
it.
some water and just let me be over in my corner just going crazy. You're just in the room. You ain't got to come touch my back. You ain't got to come rub my head. You ain't got to give me no tissue. Let me go crazy in the corner. You just be in the other corner.
Supporting presence.
Yes, that's it. Sometimes you ain't got to say nothing. And I wish more people would understand that you don't have to give me the right answer or the wrong answer or a answer. Just be present.
Just be in the
And
moment.
that's a
Just be
great
present. Just be
just be
present. That's it.
present. Present. And cuz I want to thank you for the time that you gave me today, and I really do appreciate that. And you're an amazing person. You know what I'm saying? I look at you and I read all your posts that you post, and I see how you going through it. But I love that you still post and you still talk and you still conversate and you show your vulnerability. And I hope that more people can see that and then take a few pieces of what you're doing as far as how you process your grief and how you process and how you move forward. So I just want to say again, thank you for your time. I appreciate you hanging out with me today, and you're an amazing individual. Hold on, yeah, Joe. So thank you very much. So again, this is John from good morning, good afternoon, good evening. And we are a podcast where we dive into deep personal conversations, right? With guests from all walks of life, sharing stories that touch on universal challenges, joys, and lessons. Join us for memorable moments that remind us all of our shared humanity. Peace, blessings, good night.